Hello, welcome. Oh, we didn't.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We forgot to close the door between our offices.
Oops. I love you.
Is Alexis the Nexus Alex?
What?
Or is that somebody else? I said, is Alexis the Nexus Alex, or is
No.
that somebody else?
Alex is TBNR Alex.
Okay.
So yeah, welcome to Pineapple. Our return finally from week off.
Vacation / COVID /
Yeah, because we did vacation, and then we had, and we were off for a week, and then we did Pineapple, I think, the week right after we got back,
Mm-hmm.
and then we did nothing else
Yep, because we got COVID.
because we got COVID. And it wasn't Carol.
We
it's
being
still
you.
me.
I still have not tested positive yet.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So we being me got COVID.
And the kids. All of the kids.
And the kids. All of the kids have it. And
I like the current topic, by the way.
COVID vacation, yeah. Are you coming in, Eric?
Seriously. Get your butt in here.
Yeah, you have no excuse because there was no stream on Thursday, so your family should be fairly forgiving. You had a week off.
We had 2 weeks in a row where we had no game.
Yep.
And Eric, you can play the "but I'm sick" card to Jen if she complains.
Oh, dinner. See, dinner is about to happen.
Priorities, man.
Yeah. Gotta come in after dinner. That makes sense. Yes.
Time zones.
Anyway, so yeah.
I thought all you yuppies in California ate at 8 o'clock at night anyway, so the stream would be over at normal California dinner time.
Yeah, but Eric isn't a Californian. He's from here.
But he lives in California, so he's partial yuppie.
Partial yuppie.
That's a thing that's like a not a yuppie thing, but that's like a thing in Europe.
I know.
Is they
don't eat until 9 o'clock at night.
Well, I saw a chart about it that was what time average dinner time is, and it was the warmer the climate, the later it was. Like in Greece and Turkey, it was 10 p.m. was dinner time.
Yeah, that
That's
makes sense.
insane.
Nobody wants to be in a hot kitchen cooking when it's 90 degrees out.
Yeah, but then you get up in places Norway and stuff, and it was 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, because they need to be in bed, snuggled under blankets when the sun sets.
So anyway, we should. Yeah. So welcome to the show. We're doing this tonight. And I'm gonna go ahead and borrow one of the questions that Tripper asked about tonight. And I think we've mentioned some of this. But what was your first video game console? So let's go around, and your name and where we can find if you have stuff online you want people to see or whatever, or news going on with you, and what your first console was. What do you got? What do you got there, Dave?
So how are we defining first console? Is that like first console you personally owned or first console you played on?
I'm going to go with first console in your house that you had access to.
Okay.
Excluding like those stupid little like actual real consoles,
I'm not.
like
I'm not
the
excluding anything. Like, what are you talking about?
not like
Wait, what stupid little what? I don't know what you're talking about.
those little Tiger Electronics like single game like
Oh, those were
LCD
super
screen
cute.
things.
Those were fun. A VIC 20? Was that Eric's answer? Is that an answer to this question?
What is a VIC 20?
Pre-Commodore 64, which I got afterwards. Oh, a Commodore VIC 20 is an 8-bit home computer.
It's not a console, it's a computer. That doesn't count.
Well,
That's no, you know what?
Like you could play games on it.
I mean,
You can play games on a PC. That doesn't make it a console.
that's true.
Yeah, but like if you look at like some Ataris, they were computers that happened to have cartridges. So would
I mean, all consoles are computers, but
yeah,
not all computers are consoles. And I
Fact.
think we're pretty specifically asking about consoles.
I would constitute the Commodore as a console.
See, I wouldn't. It's a computer.
Yeah, it's definitely a computer.
I mean, I guess you could.
I think we just did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it falls into the other, like the category that PCs end up occupying later.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not a console. Because a console, I define a console as a entertainment device specifically, like built around games, like, and that is not that. Like the Commodore VIC 20 was intended to be used as a computer, like.
Well, then, like again, some of the Ataris aren't gonna constitute as a console based off of your, because they
couldn't do word processing on an Atari.
You could. Yes, you could. My aunt's Atari had a keyboard built into it. It also had floppy disk drives, and you could do computing on it.
Weird.
So that's why I would still constitute a Commodore as. Yes, I do agree that it is a computer, but it also I would still say that it counts as a console.
Atari 2600 is my answer also. Because it's a strict console.
What is yours, Dave?
So we discussed this.
Yeah, the Tiger thing.
A couple of weeks. But no. So my first true console, like my parents were like anti-video games growing up, so I didn't get my first console until Eric had upgraded sometime in high school, and he gave me Nintendo and Super Nintendo.
Nice. Yeah, that was mine too. Was my cousin upgraded, and we got his Sega Genesis, and that was our first console. He upgraded to the PlayStation when PlayStation first came out. So we were definitely a few years behind on getting the Sega Genesis, but that was the first console we had.
So I blame Eric on contributing to my delinquency.
Yeah, I didn't get that into it, if I'm honest, either. I mean, like, I played some games, but game I played a fair bit, though, was Jurassic Park. I loved Jurassic Park. That was a good game. Play as Alan Grant or as a raptor. and go through. It was fun.
Nice.
Were you a clever girl?
Yeah, I was.
All right.
I cannot remember what games I played on the Atari.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like 4 when we were playing on that.
The games that I like to play were, I think it was WWF Superstars or WrestleMania, one of those. And then the other one, which is probably still my all-time favorite, was Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of other games yet. I mean, we had. Well, I know. Okay, we had. I do remember Earthworm Jim, and I remember that a lot because I would play it constantly. That and Bubsy, I would play them pretty regularly. While listening to. So Earthworm Jim, I would play pretty regularly while listening to Bare Naked Ladies album, Stunt, and Bubsy. I would listen to very frequently, Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You, and so now, when I hear certain songs from Stunt, I remember specific levels of Earthworm Jim, like that. My mind associates with those songs.
So what you're saying, it's all been done.
Yeah. And so that I still listen to that album, so it comes up.
We need a dad joke graphic
we're
that you can
dating
play.
Ourselves now.
Yeah.
Well, it was my first. So it was my first CD. It was the first CDs I ever got. I got a gift certificate to an outlet mall in Grove City, the Grove City outlet malls. I got a gift certificate that was good to any store in the Grove City outlet malls, and I think it might have been specific to the CD store. I don't remember, but I went to the music store and I got my first 2 CDs ever on that gift certificate, and it was those 2. It was Bare Naked Lady Stunt and Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You, and those were the first 2 CDs I ever bought for myself.
Nice.
And then I went off the deep end and just started buying a great many more. But when I ran out of money for those, pirating.
We talked about that last time.
We did talk about that last time. And
which he doesn't do anymore, folks.
I don't
That's
do
right.
anymore. I pay for Spotify.
Yep.
I tried not to pay for Spotify because I don't like their business practices and the way they screw over musicians. But we switched to Tidal, which was great, in every possible way except that I could not get it to work on my phone. I couldn't get the songs to download. I would tell it to download the music, and then I would drive through an area with no reception, which I'm surrounded by because I live in the woods. So to get anywhere, I drive through areas with no reception. And I would just not have music because it would never work. I could not get it to work. And I fought with it for months, and I contacted customer service, and they never replied. And eventually I just said, all right, I mean, if you're not going to provide the basic function that I'm paying for, and you won't offer me any customer support, I'm not paying you anymore. So we ended up going back to Spotify.
I'm sorry, Jonah's spinning outside
Yeah.
my door. He pushed my door open. And
We can see him.
oh, he's so cute. He's going to start throwing stuff into my office, which is why I typically close my door.
Right.
Uh-huh.
He likes throwing things over the gate.
All right, I'm gonna roll for our first topic here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. This one's been sitting in here for a few weeks.
Ooh.
Game you've had the longest but have never played. So a game that you have that you picked up. You've had it forever. You haven't played it yet.
Huh. Okay, I gotta break out the glasses and open up Steam.
All of my old games are out in the living room, so I'd have to go look.
I mean, you can do that.
Okay.
I don't know what.
How do I
don't have very
sort
many.
in Steam by date?
My
Can you sort in
goodness.
Steam by date?
I don't know.
You have a lot more stuff going on in your Steam than I do. Let me just tell you that, because
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I think I have 5. I think I have 5 games on Steam.
I
have a ton of
only
games on
have
Steam.
757 games.
11. I was wrong. I have 11. 750.
Yes.
How many do I have?
I have.
Sort by recent
I have
activity?
11, and 3 of them are Kingdom. Kingdom Classic, Kingdom 2 New Lands, and Kingdom 2 Crowns. And then I have Ark Survival Evolved and Ark Survival of the Fittest. So that's 5. That's 2 games. Occupy 5 of the 11 slots in my Steam.
I might have to Google this. Like, what?
Yeah, I
is
don't
my
know if you can.
oldest game in Steam.
I don't know if you can sort. Okay, Tobes. By. I only have like 150 games on Steam.
I mean, when I go to my library, it just auto sorts as recent games. And so it marks them by when I got them. I don't know.
No, well, it marks them by most recent activity, doesn't it? Ow!
Well, then
Yes, I did.
that would still, like, a game that you got a long time ago and haven't played would be very low in that list.
Yeah, well, mine are actually sorted into categories by what they are, except for the uncategorized ones. So
Yeah,
I don't actually know what order I got them. But I could uncheck group by collection and then.
Yeah, this isn't right because it's like saying, like, with that recent, it's saying that Left 4 Dead is like my oldest game, which is not true.
You know why? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna kiss you right now.
141. I have 141 games on Steam.
You know why? That's where I'm too.
I have to go look in the living room to see my older games.
But let it go my.
I mean, I have a lot of games that I haven't played.
I don't think I do. I mean, in Steam, it's Small World. Because I've played every single other game I have in Steam, except Small World. Which I think you got for me.
Hurt. I was going to say, I'm hurt. I gave that to you.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet. I will.
I'm not hurt. I thought that you would enjoy a board game.
Oh, is that what it is? I don't know
it's
anything about it. I've never...
Yeah. I already owned it, and I bought a Humble Bundle pack that came with a bunch of board games by Days of Wonder, and I was like, I have this already. Tim might enjoy it.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I have. We did pick up that Spider-Man game on PlayStation, but we haven't played that yet.
Oh, yeah. That's coming out on for the PC.
Oh, is it? Nice.
Yes.
I was excited about that one too, and I've never touched it.
Chris really enjoyed it. I know that he played through it.
I started it, and it's really good. The combat is awesome.
I'm just going to pick a game out of here and say it's my oldest game, and I'm gonna call Orcs Must Die 2 my oldest game, because I know that game's pretty old. I just never got around to playing it. My backlog is ridiculous. I probably haven't played like at least 500 games in my library.
Good God.
Yeah, my oldest games are all in a box in the loft. So I don't actually know what the oldest game I own is.
Well, all right then.
Yeah.
Just pick one. Pick one out of your Steam library.
Well, my Steam library is fairly new compared to those because I didn't play on the PC until recently. I was like hardcore Xbox for a while.
PC Master Race.
I have since converted.
She has seen the light. Hallelujah.
But that explains my 141 games on Steam because it's still pretty a pretty new development.
We're just joking. We respect all gamers.
True facts.
As I cringe as I say that.
Some of us actually respect all gamers. I think the oldest game out in that box that I haven't played is Alan Wake.
Oh.
Because it's creepy.
I thought you did play Alan Wake.
Nope, it's creepy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't picture you enjoying or playing Alan Wake because it is kind of in that genre of weird and creepy.
Yeah.
Almost zombie-like.
Yeah.
I do actually, because
yes, that's a story.
My games went my N64 games went missing. They didn't go missing. I lent them to a friend who then sold them for drug money. But if I still had those, then the oldest game that I would, if I had still had those, which I don't, then the oldest game that I owned that I had never played would be one of those, because some of those were like sports ones that my brothers played that I never did. So I had.
So technically, you still own them. It's just that you're no longer in possession of them.
I am no longer in possession of them because somebody
That's true.
stole them and
made a lot of money on them because you had.
I had GoldenEye, I had Ocarina of Time, and I had Majora's Mask in that pile.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but it depends on how long ago they were stolen.
So that would have been in
the last 10 years.
That would have been in 2013, I think, 2014.
I'd still say that was before the retro boom came back. I think that's like maybe at the very beginning of the retro boom.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Zelda was always.
I can't.
Worth a lot of money.
I have difficulty believing that GoldenEye ever stopped being a big deal for people. Like at least people who wanted N64 game. Like anyone who was going to pay money for an N64 game at all was going to pay decent money for those 3 games.
Fair enough.
Oh. All right. I rolled a natural 20, which is just labeled as Star Wars. That's all it is on the list. It just says Star Wars.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to go read to our child.
I started watching Star Wars The Clone Wars last night by myself. We started it with the kids and made it like 6 episodes in. And
okay.
They like Star Wars, but like they were not. It's hard to get them to watch the actual. Like they like Lego Star Wars, and they like Star Wars related things, but they have trouble sitting through actual Star Wars media.
So like the 3D animated Clone Wars, not the hand animated.
Yeah.
One, because they had like that came out before the 3D animated.
Alright, well it's definitely a 3D animated one, and I don't know anything about that. But that's what so I jumped in on that. I resumed. I picked up where we left off with that last night because I was gonna watch. I wanted to watch the Bad Batch, and then I saw that the Bad Batch immediately follows it, and was just like, okay.
Yeah, I actually never finished the Clone Wars. Like, the first, I want to say 2 seasons of Clone Wars is pretty awful. And I hated it.
Kind of slow.
I hated it so much that I was like, okay, I can't watch this because I think that was really before they defined Ahsoka Tano's character, and she's just annoying as all hell. And like, at least from the episodes I've watched of like the first, the first season. I think I watched into the second season, and then I was just like, yeah, I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah. It was season 1, episode 7 was what I watched last night. So,
but
I'm pretty early in yet.
Okay. What I do like is the propaganda openings.
Yes,
of Clone Wars.
Those are fun. Our heroes. Yeah.
Yep. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
we can talk about that when we eventually hit the topic of bad movies that you love to watch. I enjoyed the Bad Batch.
Carol is not going to watch it. It's a cartoon, and it's hard to get her to watch cartoons. So that's why I was just like, screw it. I want to watch it. I'm going to just start watching it.
So I watched Star Wars Rebels because I knew it tied into the last trilogy. So I was like, oh, I'll watch that because it has to do with like the New Order and stuff.
Right.
And no, I'm sorry. That Star Wars Resistance has to do with the First Order.
Okay.
Star Wars Rebels takes place.
Well, I'm under the impression it takes place during the Empire period.
Right before the Empire period, really.
Oh, really?
Because like Ahsoka is still there, like she plays a significant part towards the end. And then there's Ezra. So it takes place before Rogue One.
Okay.
So like there's an Easter egg in Rogue One. You see the ship, one of the ship that's in Rebels in the like flying or something like that, like when they're on Yavin 4. And then you also hear them page the pilot of that ship. So that was kind of a fun Easter egg. So,
all right, have we ever discussed watch order for Star Wars?
We have not.
What watch order do you like?
So my watch order excludes the prequels.
Okay.
Wasn't really a huge fan of Solo. It was a very pretty movie.
I didn't even finish it,
Um,
so I don't count it in.
so technically, that would be the first movie to watch. So if you want like a true like 1 through 9 plus the Solo and Rogue One, it would be episodes 1, 2, 3, then Solo, then Rogue One, then 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9.
So you like chronological order then?
If you were to like want like the story, but I watched them in like theatrical release. So 4, 5, 6. If I go back and actually watch 1, 2, 3, then I'd watch them. And then 7, 8, 9.
See, Carol is all theatrical release all the time. She's very big on theatrical release. Whatever order the media was released in is the order it's meant to be watched in.
Yeah.
Even if we know that there wasn't any thought put into it.
But you have to like, if you ever do have the chance to do it, watch like the last scene of Rogue One, and then immediately start up episode 4.
Well, see, that's why, because my preferred is all about story, the way you experience the story.
You're right.
And so I start with Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
So I did this when we were watching when we showed Lexi for the first time, and when we showed Toby, when Toby's old enough that we sit down and watch the series through with him for the first time. The deal was that Carol gets to pick, so it'll be in release order. But when we did it with Lexi, it was Rogue One, and then 4, 5, and then at the end of 5, you find out, hey, this is Anakin Skywalker, and at that point jump back and do 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And then you watch 6 and see both Luke and Anakin's stories kind of come, you reach climax together.
You watch 1, 2, 3, and then you find out that Anakin's just a whiny little bitch, and then you're like, this just completely ruined Darth Vader for me.
No, see, because when you're doing it like this, what you see is you see Luke's story. Well, you start with Rogue One, which is great because you get the sense of what life is like in the Empire, and you get the scene with that scene with Leia telling Darth Vader she doesn't have the plans, doesn't know what he's talking about, like, hits very differently when you know what she just walked away from. Like, that situation at the end of Rogue One. Like, that's ballsy. Like, she's looking at... But anyway, so you have kind of this story with Luke developing, and then you see how Anakin's story, and then you see how both those things reach their climax in episode 6 together.
So, have you watched Obi-Wan yet?
No, haven't yet. We have not.
Okay, so that's a standalone series. You don't need to watch any of the other, The Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett.
We do need to watch Book of Boba Fett soon, though.
But, like, that gives you a lot of background on Leia.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Are we still talking about Star Wars?
A little bit.
Yes, but we're not doing any spoilers.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so, we're being good.
Okay.
And you also get to see kind of some of the stuff that people have complained about going between the prequels and the original trilogy. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm wanting to watch it. I just haven't yet. I was working on a game, a tabletop campaign that would have been D20 Star Wars that would have taken place during the time that Obi-Wan is taking place. It had a. I never finished prepping it, but it has a. The working title of it was the Old Republic didn't seem old at the time, and it was. I have it like half built on Roll20. I need to finish building that at some point.
Just call it the Fall of the Old Republic.
See, no, because it doesn't take place during the fall. It takes place, like, or it's not focused on that. It's people kind of reeling from that having happened. The end of the Clone Wars.
All right. So, Carol, we were talking about the view order for Star Wars. So, Tim has said that you are very much a theatrical release person.
In all media, that's not even Star Wars. That's like just
it's not theatrical.
It's just
release
personality.
Order. Yep, a personality.
So speaking of release order, so apparently, I think Disney is actually going to try to remaster the theatrical versions of 4, 5, and 6. I think they have found a good enough copy to remaster in like Blu-ray or 4K. So I don't know if you guys know, but they
kept changing it.
There's these huge projects out there where people are trying to upscale different versions of the movie to get it to like 4K quality and like clean up the frames and stuff like that. There's huge projects out there. And like some of the stuff that they're doing is absolutely amazing. So it would be kind of cool to see if like Disney just was like, hey, we'll pay you guys for this content because you've done all the work.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but that would require Disney to pay people, and they don't like doing that.
Well,
the friggin'
that's
bums.
True.
If it's gonna make them a lot more money off of nerds like me, so like, I do not own a copy of the original trilogy on Blu-ray because I refuse to buy special edition.
Right.
So I do have a copy of the original trilogy on my Plex that I ripped that were the bonus discs for one of the Star Wars box sets, and it was the Laserdisc transfer, the THX remastered Laserdisc transfer that they put onto as bonus features.
Oh, wow.
As bonus discs. So I actually own that Laserdisc set. It's sitting in my basement. That's interesting because basically for Empire Strikes Back, it's 3 discs. 3 laser discs, and you have to basically flip them every 20 minutes. So, but that was the best, highest quality transfer, home media release that they made before the special edition came out.
That's wild. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I would like to see. I mean, if they're willing to pay for it, that's great. But Disney has just been infuriating in how bad they are about paying anybody. Like, there's multiple lawsuits going on about this.
Yep.
If you're not...
I won't bring up the political person. Who doesn't like to pay people either?
You're right. Yes. Well, there is that as well. But like, if you're not familiar, essentially, um, Disney has done two things. One is Disney a lot of it falls under one broad category, where Disney believes that when they bought properties, they did not buy the obligations that went along with those properties. So, people who are owed royalties for things that Disney have been doing, especially with Marvel, is where this has mostly been talked about. But it comes up in Star Wars and stuff like that as well. But especially in Marvel, where they bought the Marvel, the rights to do stuff with Marvel, but they're not paying any royalties to any of the comic creators that were owed royalties for those things. So
like Steve Ditko's estate, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Was one of the big ones.
Yeah, and like people point out that the Hawkeye show, and especially the framing of it and the way they did the art and the title cards and everything, was 100% pulled from a specific run of the Hawkeye comic. Like the art style is unmistakably exactly lifted from this comic series, and no credit was paid to the artist at all. No money was paid to the artist. Like, it's because Disney claims that they didn't buy the obligations that came with the properties. They just bought the properties, which is bullshit. But yeah, so they've been having a number of court cases about that. They've been getting sued about it, and they kind of have offered a couple like token settlements, but they're not budging on that ideology as yet, and they really need to. But that aggravates me. As
God forbid you take a teddy bear and put a red shirt on it.
Yeah, they're so. I hate them. I hate Disney as a corporation. I hate their accumulation of all of these things that I want to enjoy. Even if they do well with them, it's still. I don't like the idea that in order to enjoy these things, I have to give Disney money.
Maybe we should roll for a new topic.
Yeah. Moving down the line, just one, because I rolled a 19. Those tabletop games.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I don't know that there's much new to say about tabletop games from us, this particular group right now.
Yeah, that was just a very broad topic that I forgot who put that up there. It was just like tabletop games. Okay.
Yeah, just if there was something to say about that.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the new ones yet.
We haven't gotten the new ones yet.
News.
We're apparently not going to get Faye at all. I'm going to have to do something about that because there's a time limit in which because of some money stuff getting moved around because of vacation and things hitting there wasn't money in my spending account when the Faye Kickstarter ended, and so we didn't pay. My card got declined when it came time to pay what we pledged, and by the time there was money in it again, the deadline to fix the payment method had passed.
Oh,
so
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we never paid our pledge, so we're not getting it unless we work something out with the guy.
Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
So that's disappointing. And
we have his contact info.
That's true. We can
Talk to
contact
him
him and see what we can do about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our pledge did not go through on that one. I'll have to sort that out later. But that means that as of right now, we're not scheduled to be getting Faye. Pet peeves. Someone asked, "What are your pet peeves?"
Oh, where should I begin? This was my topic. Oh.
I think the stuff that I was just talking about goes outside of the bounds of pet peeves a little bit. I think that's a different
little bit,
sort of.
yeah.
What? Okay, so that's. Let me ask that first of all. What is a pet peeve? Like, what is the boundary? Is at what point is it a pet peeve, and at what point is it something else?
I think a pet peeve is an annoyance at something that someone doesn't intend purposely to do. Is that a good definition?
Yeah, like chewing too loud or stuff like that.
Okay.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll let you.
I was gonna say. I had always kind of got the impression that it was stuff that didn't matter, stuff that bothered you but didn't matter. Like,
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, it's a different definition, but I don't think we have to like come to an agreement. That's just a different kind of understandings that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that a lot of mine are grammar related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyone that knows me knows I hate business speak, and the more I am in leadership, the more I hear it. And probably my biggest one for the last few years is the misuse of the term myself. Like, if you look at management, and like, I didn't even realize like how far back this goes, because I'll like watch like old movies and they'll be like, send that to myself, or include myself on that email when you send that email out. And it's just like,
people say that?
Yes.
That was actually that was a point of discussion in my English class that I had to take. I had to take a grammar class at school, at the Baptist college that I went to briefly, and that was one of the discussions was proper use of myself because it was listed as a common problem.
Yes.
I've never heard anyone say that. That would drive me insane.
Like, managers do it all the time, and then it becomes like a cultural thing at the places that you work. So like, I actually was kind of a dick to my last manager at my last job, and I printed out like the proper usage of myself and I pinned it on his wall. Because it just doesn't make to me it doesn't make any sense, because it's like, it's a very simple rule that if you are performing the action on you, that's when you use myself. You use me every other time.
Yep.
So that's the misuse of then and than is also an annoyance of mine.
Can we not just say like all things grammatically incorrect? Just a blanket rule.
Well, I think he's saying there are some things
grammar.
Some grammar that annoys him more.
Some things that bother me more than others, and it's those basically those two things that really just tweak me.
Yeah. when people use, is it anymore? It's anymore. I think they use anymore wrong, and I can't even think of how exactly they use it.
Well,
But that's like I know it's
there,
regional.
yeah, there is it's not necessarily wrong sometimes. Sometimes it's just
It is grammatically
a
wrong.
regional difference.
Based on the meaning of that word, it is grammatically wrong. I know it's a regional thing.
This is a thing that comes
but
up
it
in the
drives
mountains.
me insane.
Anymore as a negative. Or as a so essentially words like anymore or whatever are used in a way that means like I've heard it so many times because it is a common thing in the mountains, and so a lot of my family does it.
Yeah.
But it basically means now or
right. Yeah. That drives me insane.
It's kind of a descriptor for a thing that has become a present.
Mm-hmm.
So like so you would say something like I go down to this. You could say like I go down to the store anymore, and it's in that sentence. It essentially means now this is there has been a change in my life where now I go on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And that's the function that anymore is serving in that sentence, rather than the standard English use of it, which is just I used to do that but now I don't, or whatever.
Yeah. So it irritates me.
So it's another version of used to could?
Well,
yeah, but it makes less sense.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a present reality in this case. You take anymore and you turn it into a present reality and it carries with it this connotation that you used to not do it, but now you do it, and you not only do it, but you do it regularly.
Yeah, so it's like reversing the actual meaning of the word, which is why it's wrong. But
okay,
there's a few of those. Some of the things that like she hears from me or from my family that drives her nuts.
Yeah, like when you leave out the verb.
Oh, I need an example of this now.
They drop to be.
In certain usages.
So like if something needs to be done, they say it needs done.
Yeah.
And it drives me insane. I'm like, there's a verb there. It's not implied.
Yeah, so the car needs washed.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
And my kids
again, that's another regional thing though.
Yeah.
Yes, it's regional. But it's a pet peeve, okay?
No, that's fine.
It drives me insane.
Yeah. Yeah, the kids have picked it up because I'm home with them, and that's how I talk.
Yeah. Drives me crazy. Even I say it now. I cringe every time I do it.
She hates
I'm just like, what have I become?
Social inheritance.
Yeah.
Yep. It's terrible.
Yeah, because and I've talked to English professors who will absolutely agree with Carol on this, because it is standard English. Standard English is you either have to be or it's in. So
yeah, it needs doing.
Yeah, the car needs washing, not the car needs washed. If you're going to do washed, it's to be. The car needs to be washed, or the car needs washing.
Yep.
But in the greater Pittsburghese dialect, it's valid and normal to say it needs washed.
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't regionalisms like that don't.
What bothers me is when like the kids start correcting me on stuff. Because they'll pick up from Carol that like, no, this is wrong. So they'll be like, Daddy, it's called a vacuum. I'm like, you know what I'm talking about, now go get the damn thing.
Why? What do you call it?
Sweeper.
A sweeper.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
It's because it's not.
incorrect.
It's a sweeper.
It doesn't sweep.
It does. It has the little brushes. It does the sweeping.
So there used to be, before the vacuums, there was a thing called the rug sweeper that was not vacuum powered, but it was basically a vacuum that you ran over.
But it wasn't vacuum powered.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems as though what happened was, in some parts of the country, when the vacuum powered one came out, in some parts
it was called a vacuum sweeper.
Some people focused on the vacuum power, and some people focused on that it was the same device. And so back in the mountains and back in PA, it's still a sweeper.
So
and in New England, it's a vacuum.
We used carpet sweepers.
Yeah.
When I worked at Friendly's, and like that makes sense. It's literally brushes.
Yeah.
That are sweeping things into a like.
Yeah, but the sweeper does the exact same thing. It just also has a vacuum function.
It uses a vacuum.
And the brushes. It still has the brushes. Like, the brushes are still there.
Sometimes. The brushes aren't always still there.
So yeah, but back home we call it a sweeper. And here it's called a vacuum. And the kids will pick up occasionally.
Other parts of the country, they call them hoovers.
Yep. Oh, and in England and in the UK and Ireland, especially, they call them hoovers. Yeah. And they call the action hoovering.
Yeah. But I don't give you a hard time about the sweeper thing. We just
not anymore.
Play fight about it.
Yeah.
No, we play fight about
That's
it.
true. Yeah, it is play fight. But then the kids pick it up and they're just like, "No, Daddy, that's not the right nerve." I'm just like,
"Yeah,
I'm asking you to do a chore. I'm not going to have a grammatical argument with you about it right now."
Yeah, but they don't know what I'm talking about if I ask them to get a cart at the grocery store. So
that's true. They only know the word buggy.
Yeah. So I don't think you can complain about them correcting you about the vacuum. You've stolen my proper verbs and my cart.
I'm just glad you don't call them a carriage.
God, why would I do that?
So I still think that calling us a sweeper is perfectly valid because it did replace the sweeper. So
yeah, it did. I have a great many actual pet peeves though, but I'm not great at naming them off the top of my head. Like I have trouble remembering them when they're not aggravating me.
Yeah, makes sense.
But when they are, people know. I don't know if Carol recalls any. If you have any that you're like, oh, this is one you talk about all the time, but yeah, I don't actually.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah. My friends used to have a thing, though, where they would... I was like... Apparently, I rant in somewhat entertaining ways. And so... my friends used to they would just ask me about topics when we were out at Eaton Park or something. And I didn't necessarily know it right away, but they had a list that they were keeping of things that they could get me to rant about. And that was like a game that they had was, hey, see, what about this one? And they would just like have a list of topics and see whether or not I would rant about them if they asked about them. And if I had access to that list, I could tell you a list of pet peeves, apparently, but I don't.
Oh, I'll bring up another one. Being asked the same question multiple times.
Oh my god, my kids do that. They drive me nuts. Oh,
you found one.
Oh, you found one. All right, that's good. So, I will say, like, a big part of my job is training people.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd like to see myself as a more patient person business, when it comes to business. I'm a very impatient person, like outside of work. But like when you go over the same thing over and over and over with people, and I'll just throw interns in there when they like ask you the same question for like the 60th time, and it's like, I usually kind of give them a look and I'm like, write this down because you ask this every time. And then it'll be like, did you read your notes? I guess it's more of the passive aggressive kind of like, you should be learning this stuff.
Right. I lost a job because of that. A job opportunity. This was back in PA, and I was interviewing for a job with Pepsi. And it would have been one of those, the reps that go to the grocery stores and they, set up the displays and they place the orders and all this other stuff.
Product placement rep.
Yeah. It was that for Pepsi. And I had to drive like an hour and a half to the distribution center where they were having these interviews and where I would have been working out of. But I would have been working around my hometown area. And so it was one of those things where I was like, maybe once a week I would be going to the office. Like the entire rest of the time I would just be out at the grocery stores around me. And so, but for the interviews, I had to drive all the way to that office. And so, I'm doing that, and I made it through to like the last round, and it was me and one other guy were the last applicants left. And we're talking about it, and they go, "Okay, do you have any questions after this last interview? Do you have any questions?" And I was like, "No, not at this time." And they're like, "None? You don't have any questions?" I was like, no. Like, why not? I was like, because we've already talked about it. Look, I already asked you about this. I already asked you about this. I already, and I already asked you about the what I would actually be doing. I already asked you about the office hours. I already asked you about like the benefits and the pay. Like, we discussed everything. I was like, is there literally any aspect of the job that I haven't asked about? And they said no. I said, then I don't know what question you expect me to ask. Like, we've discussed every single aspect of the job. You're telling me that there aren't even any other questions to ask. Why are you surprised that I'm not asking any more questions? And they're like, we just really like it when people ask questions. It's like, this is an unsupervised position. You realize that, like, you're hiring somebody to go do a job where they're not going to be regularly in contact with you. Like, why in the world would you want a person who would have to ask you the same question over and over again if it's somebody that you're not actively supervising? And I didn't get the job.
Not surprising, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, if we want, like, even though this doesn't fall under pet peeves,
No.
but it's just like, in terms of bad interviews. So I interviewed years ago at ESPN. I was like, I had just started I had gone back to Mass Mutual and I had just started a contracting gig with them, and I was just like, I saw this opening at ESPN. I'm like, ESPN, Disney, they're a good company to work for, like in terms of benefits and the pay and stuff. So I was like, I'll just throw my hat in the ring and I'll interview for this position. And the guy that was interviewing me, he was like, if this happened, what would you do? And I would answer the question, and he'd be like, then he would change the question. And he changed the question like 6 times. And I just, like, at the end of it, I'm just like, I'm just like looking at him like flabbergasted. I'm like, because it's like, and then finally I was basically, it doesn't matter what I say because you're going to just change the question again. And, you know, I gave you perfectly valid answers. And like they were using like out of date technology, and I kind of like scoffed at that. And like when it came down to pay, they're like, well, what's your salary requirements? And I was like, this is my salary requirements. And the guy's like, yeah, you're not going to get that. I'm like, okay, I'll see ya.
Yeah, all right.
I'm like, there's no skin off my back right now. My current commute's 5 minutes. Like the commute down to, where is it? New Bedford, Connecticut, I think.
Oh, wow.
It would have been like an hour and a half. So I was just like, I was like, well, that's what I need to get paid to accommodate for the commute time. You know, the time that I'm losing out of my day. And like, they didn't call me back. I was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Say la vie. Yeah, I was like, I didn't feel particularly lost about that anyway. Like, my family, you know, obviously my dad was like, you blew that job interview? I'm just like, okay, but like, I didn't want to work for them. Like, with this is like at that point, like, yeah, I was all for the job as we were going through, but like when we get to the point where it's just like we want to micromanage you on a job where you're working an hour and a half away from the office, I don't want to deal with that anyway.
Wait, I don't understand how we want you to ask us questions during a job interview equates to we want to micromanage
So
you.
what I actually said to them was, if you want somebody who they can ask a question, you can give them the information one time, and they understand it and don't have to keep asking you about it. Like, I'm the person, I can do that. I don't need to keep asking the same question over and over again. If you want somebody who you have to keep answering the same questions to, then fine, hire somebody else. And,
Okay, so
which it was probably the attitude more than anything that they didn't like, but you know, that's how I took it at the time.
But like interviewers like when you ask questions about the company. Like,
it's Pepsi. I know the company.
No. You have no idea what the workplace culture is like. You have no idea how much you'd be in communication with other people who work for Pepsi or things like that. There's all kinds of things that you could ask about that have nothing to do with the job but have everything to do with the company itself. And they like when you do that. Like, I always go to an interview with a list of questions that have nothing to do with the job.
Oh yeah, see, it never would even occur to me. The company just signs the checks. I don't give a shit about them. Like, I'm not there because I care about the company. I'm there because I care about my paycheck.
Okay, well, like, I care about the company that I'm working for kind of like... and the culture at the company that I'm working for. So
there's also I'm really not built for office jobs. Like, let's be honest.
True.
As a personality, just. I've had one office job, and it was not a good fit.
I never ask about the company or the culture or any of that stuff.
Oh, always. I always ask about the company. And because the interview is as much me interviewing them as them interviewing me. So, like, if I don't like what you have to say about workplace culture, I'm not going to go to work for you.
Nope. I don't care about that stuff. I was never big on hanging out with my coworkers or anything, or. Like,
I love my coworkers. Like, this is the best place I've ever worked. So
I really like my coworkers.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's not going to make or break a job for me. Because if, you know, I think it's definitely an added benefit if I like them, and if I want to hang out with them. But at the end of the day, if I don't like them, I'm going home, and I'm not going to like the the office events and whatever anyways, so
I mean,
but like if you're going into an office and there's a culture of stress and overwork and that kind of stuff, like you don't want to be in that environment whether you like your coworkers or not.
well, I
So-
mean, to be fair, in my work experience has largely been kitchens and retail, and it is
Yeah.
they're all like that. Like that's
yeah.
just, and no one's going to tell you that. Like you're never going to get the information that would tell you that this, oh yeah, no, it's a high stress environment where we're going to be dicks to you all the time. Like they're never going to tell you that, but they're all going to be that way. And so like
in that field, yes, I
So, like,
agree with that.
there's no reason even, like, it's just a different uniform. It's the same crap in a different uniform, and that's just what my, so like in my kind of sphere, that was the thing. It didn't really matter what the cultural, the work culture was, or the company, what the company was like, or whatever. Like at the end of the day, I'm still in a hot kitchen with two other people who can't get more than 5 feet away from me, and we're getting crapped on by wait staff. Like that's just, the uniform doesn't change any of that. Like that's just what it is everywhere. So,
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been what it was at Pepsi.
that's true, but as I'm saying, like it never would have even occurred to me to ask about the company because because of where I come from, where I exist, kind of in the corporate world, it's not even a factor. So it wouldn't have never even occurred to me to ask that because what do I care? Who's Pepsi?
Mm-hmm.
Pepsi signs the checks in this equation. They're not a factor in my daily enjoyment of the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll actually disagree with that comment, Carol. Like one of the most stressful jobs I ever had was the most rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the whole team, our entire team, we work like dogs. I was on the lighter side and I was putting in 55 hour weeks.
Goodness.
And like I'd be signed in at like 2:00 in the morning some days and my manager would still be on.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was super high stress, but we all enjoyed like working with each other. We had a great team. And I found it was, really rewarding, even though it had a high stress component to it.
Mm-hmm. But like me personally, if I went into an interview and my interviewer told me you're going to be expected to work 55 plus hours a week in a high stress environment, I would say nope.
Yep. I can see that too.
Yeah.
So being in leadership now, that is one of the things I stress on a regular basis, is that I want my reports to have a proper life-work balance.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, I'm like, I don't want you guys working extra hours unless you absolutely have to, because I feel that if I'm being fair to them, that in those times where I actually do need them for an emergency, they will be, fair to me by being available to do that, and me interrupt that. I also don't feel as bad interrupting their downtime because I know that's not going to happen on a regular basis.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Like where I work now, the work-life balance is incredible, and they care an awful lot about making sure that like people don't work overtime, and you're not at work on your off hours. Like nobody is contacting you outside of business hours and that kind of stuff. And we get like unlimited sick time, so it makes me less likely to use it because I appreciate and respect this company so much for the way they treat their employees that I'm like, unless I'm dead sick, I'm going to work, because they treat me so well. and I've had those like high stress moments in this position, but like it's not an everyday kind of thing.
Yep.
I've definitely worked overtime hours for this job, but it's not an all the time kind of thing. So.
Right.
Well, you're lucky. I don't get like a separate bank of sick time. I have to use my PTO.
Yeah, I don't even have a bank of sick time.
Yeah, it was like that at MIT. Unlimited sick time within reason.
Yeah, we can't be out for more than 5 days without doing a leave of absence.
Yep.
But yeah, if we're sick, we stay home. It's kind of great. I love my company.
Awesome. Yeah, she really is really happy with that job, and I'm really happy to see her happy with it.
Mhm.
So that's been nice. Eric's asking a question in
Discord.
in Discord.
Eric. Tell him we're gonna call him out on stream. Can't speak.
I feel like we just did. Like I don't know if I don't know if I can threaten that we will do something that you did in the process of making the threat.
Okay, well tell him we did. He's been officially called out.
Ugh. A lot of high numbers today. I'm not going to do that one. Oh, okay. Here we go. This one's fun. I'm excited about this one. The D&D movie.
Did you see my meme?
Your meme. I don't know if I saw your meme.
I made that specifically because of this movie.
Oh, the Michelle Rodriguez. Who's Michelle Rodriguez?
She's going to be the warrior in the new D&D movie. She was Letty in the Fast and Furious movie. She was also in Resident Evil, a couple of the Resident Evil movies.
I have not watched those.
I haven't seen any of those any of the movies that you're talking about.
You haven't seen Fast and Furious?
No.
Not even the original?
No.
Wow. I'm surprised.
Why? What about me made you think that I was ever... What?
I mean, it's not the kind of movie that I would watch either, but I was forced into it.
So I own all of those movies because they're on my list of awful movies that I love to watch. Like, especially after like Fast Five and on, they get so ridiculous. It's just like, this is just utter nonsense. It's hilarious. Sheer entertainment value.
Man. Yeah, yeah, no, I don't know any of those. But I'm excited for the D&D movie.
She was in Machete.
Didn't see that either.
Oh.
She was in Blue Crush?
Nope.
She was in Avatar.
Was she a person in Avatar?
She was the pilot in Avatar.
Okay, see, I saw Avatar, but I remember nothing.
So long ago. Nobody remembers anything.
Yeah, it famously had no cultural impact at all. I love it. Let me see. I'm
You
looking.
mean CG Fern Gully / Pocahontas?
Yep.
Let's see. She was in Alita Battle Angel, which I didn't see. A Drake music video that I never saw.
Yeah, I looked at her filmography. I didn't see anything.
Smurfs: The Lost Village, which I never saw.
What?
Now I'm trying to think. Like, I think she, like, Alita Battle Angel was. She must have been like one of the CG characters.
It says uncredited Gelda.
Okay.
Let's see here. Battle Los Angeles. Also never saw that.
Oh yeah, she was one of the. Yep, I remember that now.
She was in Lost, which I never watched.
No.
Yeah. I don't think Blood Rain, which I never saw. I never got around to seeing Blood Rain. I thought about watching Blood Rain, but I never did.
I
Yeah.
played Blood Rain.
Yeah, literally, I've never watched a single thing on her entire IMDb page, with the exception of Avatar, which I don't remember.
She's been in some pretty awful movies, though. But then again, so has Chris Pine.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah. And he's still a brilliant actor.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It looks like such a fun movie, though. Oh.
It does.
It really.
But I also said there's a high chance there's a very low chance that would be any worse than the 2002 Dungeons and Dragons movie with Thora Birch.
Yeah, I never got around to watching it, but I've heard that it didn't come out great.
I think it was 2002.
Yeah, I've heard that it didn't come out great. I haven't seen it yet, but this one,
2000. Yep. Yeah, with Jeremy Irons and Justin Whalen.
Love Jeremy Irons.
Goodness,
He's so good.
the person who plays that
Marlon Wayans. I forgot that he was in there.
I'm clicking around in the cast, and the person who plays the what's it call it? The druid who becomes the owlbear in the trailer wasn't even born until 2002. She's younger than the last D&D movie.
I gotta look that
Okay.
up. Hold on.
I'm gonna have to watch the last D&D movie.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch it.
It's
the
rated
2001?
3.6 out of 10 on
it's
IMDb.
I
Yeah, we're
have
definitely gonna have to
I
watch
think
it.
I own it on DVD, but it's packed away in a box somewhere, and I'm not going through all of it. Sorry.
Let's see if Amazon has it.
Yeah, the current one, like the one that they're advertising though, it seems like a D&D party. Like yeah, I could totally see a D&D party like this.
Oh, you know what? Is the person that plays...
It's $2.99 to rent on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Sophia
Lillis, yeah, she's
okay. She was in It, and she was in that TV show, that Netflix series called, I think it was I Am Not Okay.
I am not okay with
I haven't
this.
seen
It
that.
says.
Yes, I actually.
Oh, that's the one with the girl with the superpowers?
Yes,
I wanted to watch that, but I haven't yet.
I enjoyed that series, but then they canceled it.
Oh,
So I was hoping for a second season.
Freaking
But
Netflix!
she was in-
Netflix is
she was
terrible
in
about
It.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to see that show though. Yeah, she was in It. She was in Hansel and Gretel.
But Justice Smith is in it.
So?
Who is Justice Smith?
Isn't he one of Will Smith's kids?
No,
No?
their kids
Oh,
are.
never mind. I'm thinking of Jaden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the kids.
Oh,
the
okay.
kids' names. Will Smith's kids' names are the same as Will and Jada Smith's names, but gender swapped.
Oh, okay.
Will and Willow. Jade and Jada.
Oh, I didn't even
Jaden and
realize
Jada.
that. That's how much I don't care about celebrity lives.
I don't.
Oh,
I literally do not know any other celebrity kids' names, but the fact that is the way that is.
Except for Archangel.
Oh yeah, stupid fucking Elon Musk. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I like this actor. I remember he was like the main character in the Pikachu movie.
Oh, okay. I love that movie.
I still haven't seen that movie.
You haven't seen Detective Pikachu?
He was in.
Nope.
He was in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom as well, and Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah, we don't talk. I don't talk about that movie. That movie was awful.
The Thundermans. Yeah, no, but I liked Detective Pikachu. That was a good movie.
Yeah, I need to bite the bullet and see that one. I've just never been interested in Pokemon.
Well, me
so-
neither, but it looked like a cute movie, and so I watched it, and it was fun.
But Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu in it.
Yeah.
I know Ryan Reynolds is kind of amazing. So
Like, I thought it was going to be awful, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
the problem with the old Dungeons and Dragons movie was that it was trying to take itself too seriously. Like, it was trying to make Dungeons and Dragons a serious fantasy franchise instead of just being like, this is a tabletop
so many
game.
people have succeeded at that though
Yeah,
in games.
yes, and it's possible to do it, but I think that was you gotta. It's tricky.
So Dungeons and Dragons, if I actually go to the theater to see it, I'm just going to go for just to be entertained and have zero expectations for the film.
Well, that's all I ever.
I feel
want
like
from
that
movies.
should be
That's my
that should
default.
just be the norm for going to the movies.
Yeah, that's my default. That's what I always am doing.
Which studios
Which
making
is why
it?
I never go see movies that were made after books because I am incapable of just going for enjoyment.
Oh, it's going to be Paramount. So you know what? Maybe I'll just wait for them to drop it on Paramount Plus.
There you go. That is an option.
So if you guys want to do that, then what we can do is we can have a movie night sometime, and you can come over and watch it on Paramount Plus.
Movie night sounds fun.
Yeah,
As
I
long
support
as
that.
there's hot popcorn.
He's very big on popcorn.
I am very big on popcorn.
So there was
Should have bought popcorn.
an argument that was I'm sure we still have popcorn. Do we not still have
We
popcorn?
don't.
Oh dang.
Nope.
There was an argument happening online because people were pointing out that owlbear is not technically an option for wild shape. If by a strict reading of D&D rules. And so that was an argument that started on Twitter where people were like, this movie is garbage because a druid can't, like, unless she has like a special thing, she can't become an owlbear. And so other people were pointing out that, like, okay, but consider this. There were some people who were pointing out that, like, well, there are ways to do that. Like, you're assuming that it's wild shape, and that she doesn't have certain bonuses, and that she doesn't have, like, it is a certain subclass or whatever. Like, you're assuming that none of those things are true. And you're assuming that it's wild shape instead of, like, an illusion or a polymorph or something. But, so some people were taking that route because we don't know yet. Admittedly, we can't tell from the trailer whether it's wild shape or a different spell. But some of us, however, were pointing out that, like, the rules clearly state that the DM is allowed to bend the rules if it makes the session better. And
Yep.
therefore, yes, she's allowed to become an owlbear because that's awesome. Like this.
what they need to do is they need to make like really just make a really bad joke about like Thaco. So like at the beginning of their quest, they can't hit anybody wearing armor.
And that'll appease the AD&D crowd.
That would just be like a hilarious little Easter egg.
Oh, but I am looking forward to this movie. I want to see this movie so bad.
It looks hilarious. I'm so interested.
It looks hilarious. It looks great, and it really does. It feels like many a D&D group that I've actually been a part of, and I love that. And that's what
I'll be right back.
Yes, all right. And that's what I mean about the whole taking it too seriously though thing, is that like, yes, sometimes you have groups that succeed at making a serious story. But it's always a thing that arises by the group consensus. Like, the group kind of makes that happen, and they sell it really well. But, like, I just feel like if you're going to do a movie of D&D, and you're going to try to make it as serious as possible, it's going to feel alien to people. Because you're not getting there the same way. Like, I think D&D, you can only get there that way.
I would agree with that. Like, if like our Mutants and Masterminds like sessions were like dead serious, I would have quit, because it's like I am looking, for that game to be entertaining and enjoy hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And if it was just like all business, then it would be it would get very boring and annoying very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, the premise of the game sets itself up to be where you could, if we wanted to, if we had a group that was inclined towards this, do a very serious kind of retrospective on loss. Like, it's the world has ended. We're walking around in the ruins of the modern world, and there's a lot we could do with that if we wanted to be more, serious and somber about it. There's definitely room to do so, but it's not required. And I think that it would be damaging if we tried to force it to be like that all the time. Huh? Just the oat milk cream pies. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's my concern when I was talking about, like, taking it too seriously. It's just yeah, it's unless the seriousness arises naturally out of the group dynamic, it's going to feel wrong, because there is a certain element to which, like, we all know it's a game. And, like, you could take a D&D session, like a D&D campaign, and make it a movie that's very serious, that plays very serious, that is presented very seriously, and takes itself very seriously, and not put the Dungeons and Dragons label on it, and it would work. But the moment you put the Dungeons and Dragons label on it, people who think of it as a game are going to expect a little bit of that game enjoyment from the story. And I mean, like, even those really serious campaigns that do happen, like,
Hi, Titus.
They have moments where they're not taking it as seriously, and so yeah, I think that's probably that seems to me to be the failing of the old D&D movie, and I'm glad that we don't see that in this one.
They also need to have a pygmy unicorn in the movie at some point too, as an Easter egg.
Oh. Alright. We'll roll one more topic. I already rolled that number. I already rolled that number. What the heck? Are you kidding me?
The dice are rigged.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Ideal video game is the question. What is your ideal video game? I think was what was actually asked in the thing.
That's really hard to answer.
And I don't know if it's asking like what the best video game in existence is, or like how you would build the ideal game. But I guess we could go either way. I'm working on getting, because I'm playing a heavily modded Fallout 4, and the heavily modding is me trying to make it my ideal experience of Fallout. We haven't talked about this. Like, we joke about like Fallout themes when we're talking about In Memoriam, but I actually did, like, there are elements of In Memoriam that are openly based on Fallout 4. Like, the Red Right Hand, that's the Minutemen. Just straight up. But, yeah, I do, I really enjoy Fallout 4. But there's things I have to do to it to make it more ideal. So I'm playing a heavily modded version of it right now.
Yeah, I think I got to. Is it the Historical Society where you get your first power armor on the roof? It's like really at the
The first town that you go to after
Concord.
Sanctuary, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the Museum of Freedom.
Yeah. And I was just like, eh, and I stopped playing.
the game hadn't even started yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it though.
I don't know what my ideal video game would be though. Like,
I don't like there isn't just one ideal game though. Like there are games that I absolutely love and I would 100% call the greatest game of their genre, but like what I'm interested in playing really depends a lot on my mood. So I can't say like this one type of game with these elements would be my ideal game.
yeah. Yeah, alright. Because I agree with that. Because, like, there are times when what my ideal game is occasionally is, like, Stellaris. Where I just doing what I do in Stellaris. But sometimes what I really like is Little Big Planet. Yeah. Yeah, so there's probably like 4. Like, depending on my mood and what I'm interested in. And it's probably like Mass Effect, Fallout 4 with heavily modded Fallout 4. Because the build mechanic, I love the build stuff, but like, man, if I could get like the build mechanics of like The Sims in Fallout 4. Anyway, Eric, welcome
Eric's
back.
back. Are you going to join us now?
And then Little Big Planet and Stellaris. Like those are my 4
Come on, Eric. We have
categories.
We have about 10 minutes left of the stream. Join us. Maybe we'll have an extended session tonight.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. We can go late. I'm working from home. Yeah, like I don't think I could even say an ideal game because I play different games constantly, just all the time. And like none of them are ideal, but as long as they keep my attention and tell a good story, like they're exactly what I want in that moment.
Right. Do you have an answer to the ideal game, Dave? Or should I just roll?
I do not. Like, I'm in the same boat as Carol.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like half the time I don't even know what I want until it's there.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Like I'll just go to my different game launchers and just be like, all right, which one today? Half the time I'm like, none of these look good, and go back to playing some random like Fortnite or Valorant or something to kill time. But like there's all kinds of really good games that don't fit into any one category. Like right now, I'm playing an entirely text-based political RPG.
What is that?
It's called, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Suzerain.
Okay.
It was free on Prime Gaming, so I started playing it, and it's kept my attention long enough that after losing 2 days in, I started over. So
Wow. AA games. We're liking AA games right now. So, what the heck is a AA game? I know AAA is. I know AAA is the big studios, but like as far as I knew, there was just AAA and then indie. I don't know what the shades of gray between them are.
Oh, Bannerlord is good.
What's Bannerlord?
If I'm remembering right, it's like a I have to look. Where is Bannerlord? I know I have it somewhere.
I want to say that was free on Epic at some point.
Yeah, it's the one. It's like a. Is it Norse?
I'm waiting for Epic to load.
Yeah, same. Here's a pet peeve. So many different game launchers.
Let's see. So single A indie then? Is that what the...
Oh, was that a Mountain Blade?
Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, it says. He says.
Is that what Eric's... Yeah, okay.
Oh.
Okay, so
What
that's...
am I thinking of?
your Skyrim-esque, almost, I think, medieval combat simulator
Huh.
and RPG.
Definitely not what I was thinking of. What is the game that I was thinking of?
Maybe you're thinking, was it called the Banner Saga?
Yes. That's the one. Yeah, I don't think I've played Mountain Blade.
I thought I had the Banner Saga. Maybe that's what I was
I
thinking.
definitely got the Banner Saga free somewhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't Epic though. Where was it?
Yeah, it wasn't Epic for
Was
me
it
either.
Twitch?
Check GOG. So GOG shows that I own 1,019 games, owned
Good
games.
lord. It was Twitch. I got the Banner Saga on Twitch.
Okay.
Huh. Was there a lot of magic in Game of Thrones? I thought Game of Thrones was pretty low magic.
There is kind of like a sect of magic users.
The Lord of Light.
Yeah.
Alessandra.
It's a very like religious fire-based sect. And there's like old magic too, but it's not prevalent in the ruling culture of the time. So
I don't know if... I mean, dragons aren't inherently magic.
true.
I don't think that having dragons is enough for me to call a thing magic. Like that Reign of Fire movie, which I remember about 20 seconds of.
With Christian Bale?
Yeah. Sure.
And Matthew McConaughey?
Yes! Matthew McConaughey was definitely in it.
Matthew McConaughey.
All right. And law-abiding citizen dude. What's Gerard Butler was in that?
Oh, really?
Oh,
I actually
okay.
just I rewatched that recently because it was on one of the streaming services.
Oh.
I think it was actually on Paramount.
Yeah, the ice zombies are definitely magic.
There's mind control?
Yeah.
Which is why the dragon glass could kill them.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of magic in
Okay.
it, but it's like a kind of a side note to the actual culture of the time, because they've kind of like done away with a lot of that in their culture, but it still exists, so it's not like recognized.
And House of the Dragon is going to be coming out fairly soon too.
See, Carol isn't going to watch anything about it until she finishes watching Game of Thrones, because she hasn't seen the last season.
Yep.
You're not missing much for the last season.
I know, and people keep telling me not to watch it, but I need to. I have to know how it ended
And she won't let us tell her.
without somebody telling me,
Yeah.
because that goes against my principles.
Well, the spoiler. No.
No,
I-
don't. I will disown you.
I know how it ends. I don't even know how it begins, but I know how it ends.
Yeah,
And
don't.
so I haven't told
don't.
her. I haven't told her
No,
years.
I will eventually watch it. I need to. I need to watch it.
Well, it begins with a guy running through
I'm gonna
the
have
woods.
to go watch. I'm gonna have to like
It's
binge
snowy-
it tonight
it's
just to make sure
snowing
nobody
out.
spoils it on me.
I'm talking about the beginning of the series.
Yeah, I know.
So you've already seen episode 1.
I have seen episode 1.
So there you go. I'm not talking
Why?
about.
So okay, so
Go
on
away.
on
You go
Pineapple,
away.
the statute of limitations on spoilers is it depends on whether or not it's a spoiler to Carol.
Yep.
If it's a spoiler to if Carol considers it a spoiler, if it will spoil Carol specifically, there is no
Then
statute
it's a
of
spoiler.
limitations. She will not tolerate any spoiler anyone telling her anything she doesn't know about anything.
Yep.
And she will not forgive you either.
True facts.
If Carol is not in the room, if Carol is not in the call, or it is something that she knows about, I consider it like a month, maybe. Like if you, I feel like if you really want to know what happened at the end of Hawkeye, like you've had time to figure it out.
Okay, but like, look at our lives.
Yeah, and I mean that's fine, but
We've had time to figure it out based on your assessment of that situation.
yep, and I don't care if someone tells me at this point.
Well, I do.
Okay, and that's
I don't think that's a fair
So,
assessment.
like, if you hadn't seen like The Sixth Sense,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "This happened in The Sixth Sense," you would be like, "Oh no!" Even though it was like
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah. She has no statute of limitations. Me
There is no statute of limitations on spoiling a movie.
Me
I
saying-
think it's always rude.
me saying it's like a month is being considerate of other people. Like I personally don't care. It could literally like you could be live tweeting it at me, like at Tim on the Mighty Tej on Twitter, like at mentioning me in the thing as you live tweet the spoiler, and I'd just be like, oh okay, cool, that's what happens, and would not
No,
bother me at all.
See,
I will say that Chris has spoiled some stuff on Facebook for me before, and it'll be like, dude, why?
There is a lot of content. So Eric's pointing out there's a lot of content out there, and that's part of the issue for me is that like I'm not going to get caught up. Listen, the chances are, if I don't watch it immediately, there's a good chance that by the time I watch it, it'll be 20 years from now. Like, there's so much stuff out there to catch up on. By the time I watch it, it might be something where no one is respecting spoilers anymore anyway. So it doesn't matter to me. Like, if I find out what happened 10 years before I watch it, or 10 years plus 3 months before I watch it, like, what do I care? It's functionally irrelevant to me.
So
I have managed to stay pretty much spoiler free for everything that I haven't seen, even though I am on the internet.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't.
So have you seen The Sixth Sense?
yes.
Okay.
Well, that's not true, Eric. There's a lot of things that I really want to watch that I will not get to for 5 years or more. I just won't. I really do. I want to watch all of the Marvel movies, even though I hate everything about the production company that makes them. I really want to watch all of the Marvel movies, but I'm multiple years behind at this point, and I'm not going to get caught up that quickly. There's just too much stuff. It's not going to happen. Well, no, Carol has a strict rule.
Yeah, I do.
Carol has a strict rule.
I do
about
have a
watching
strict
things
rule.
in
I
certain
need
ways.
to watch
I
things
don't.
in order.
I don't care. I'll watch whatever.
And I have broken that rule on occasion. Like, we
She
gave
was
up
always
watching...
disappointed at
I abide by the rule when we're watching something together, because out of love for her, like that is why it appears as though we have a rule, but it's not. It's not our rule. It is Carol's rule that I follow when we're watching something together. But when I'm watching something by myself. It's open field, man. It's whatever.
I have stretched that rule. Like when we were watching the Star Trek series, we stopped watching in release order so that we could watch one series at a time.
Oh God, did you do the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Angel?
I never watched Buffy.
Okay.
I've seen individual episodes of Buffy and Angel. Never whole episodes, but parts of them.
But there's like a viewing guide that's out there that you can watch. Like,
Yes, I would absolutely do that if I were going to watch it. We did that with
them,
the Justice,
but they're not
the DC.
all in release order. There's an actual specific order that you can watch them in, so that the storylines that cross over between Angel and Buffy meet up at the right times.
Nope, I would still watch it in release order.
But speaking of catching up on stuff that take forever to watch, I finally got around to watching Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I actually really enjoyed the show.
Me too. I
was kind of annoyed that they canceled it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I had no expectations going in, so I just thought that, like, oh, this is a very interesting mix of, like a period, like, drama and, like, the human struggles of having superpowers.
Yeah. I really liked the show. It felt like they were just kind of introducing the larger plot at the end of the season, and so I was really looking forward to what they were going to do with it for season 2. But yeah, they canceled it, and I was very upset about that. I did end up reading the comics afterwards.
Okay, the Mark Miller.
Yeah.
Comics, yep.
And there's a lot that they changed.
Yeah, I think they do that a lot for so that, for the small screen and for the big screen. So, but I think, like, would you say, so I haven't read the comics, so I didn't know anything about, like, the series at all. I did know that was based off of a Mark Miller comic, but do you feel that the changes they made were appropriate for the show?
Yeah, I feel like the changes meant that they were saying something different. Honestly, They were saying something different, and that's a big deal. Because in the comics, and Carol's never going to read the comics, so it's kind of whatever. But in the comics, they take a whole different direction, because in the show, kind of the central conflict is, for most of it, is this question of, should they be adapting? Like, should they be changing their approach as the world is getting darker around them? Like, that was a lot of, should the heroes be changing their approach as the world is getting darker around them? And so they're exploring that tension in the show. The show is very much exploring that tension. The comic does not explore the tension. The comic just has characters make a decision and go with it.
Okay.
And because of that, the comic ends up dealing more with the results, like what it looks like when they make this decision and have to live with it. Whereas the show is much more about the tension before that decision is made. Or that attempt to put off that decision, or the attempt to make a different decision, because they do kind of, they kind of stand by the, no, we're not going to change.
Okay.
In the show, and so you're dealing with those consequences. In the comic, certain characters do make the decision, no, we are going to change, and make that force that to become a reality. In ways that I'm avoiding saying, and so they're dealing with those consequences, and so it becomes a very different story very quickly.
Right, and So I just looked it up, but the comic was first published in 2013. Do you think that they may have adjusted the themes in the show to kind of showcase more of um the the political and social, the current state of political and social, what's the word I'm looking for, the landscape, to align it more with what has been happening within recent years, because it was Jupiter's Legacy was what, 2020?
Yeah, I think so. 2020. Yeah, and I mean maybe that's a possibility, but I think a big part of it is just that. So in the comic, the statement that it's Jupiter's legacy is a big deal. Like, the story happens over the span of multiple generations.
Okay. Yep. And I think they were getting.
I think they were going to get into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the, I think the nature of the show was such that they couldn't, because in the comics, all right, I'll say this. What are their names? Jupiter and the main guy and his wife.
Sheldon and
yeah, but what are their names? They're all, what are they?
Utopian and Liberty Girl,
Lady
I think.
Liberty or
Lady Liberty, that's right.
Yeah. They get so how the kind of younger generation of heroes decide they're going to move on is that they assassinate Utopian and Lady Liberty.
Okay.
And so they do that, and it in the comic they can do that. They do that kind of later, but because of the way they do it, because of the way that it's flashing through timeline, you only get so much time with them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the TV show, if they had tried to do that in the first season, which is where it would have really belonged, it would have just felt rushed.
Yeah,
I think that some of it was just straight up medium, and not even about intended messaging. I think a lot of it was just, this is what we need to do to adapt to this medium.
Right, especially since it was only in 8 episodes, season 2.
Yeah,
I think that like, people complained about the pacing, like, from what I was reading in reviews and stuff. Like, I didn't see any problems with the pacing. I felt that they balanced it pretty well with the exposition, of the group throughout the 8 episodes.
yeah,
And then being able to see, like, okay, this is how it was back then, during the Great Depression, and then here's where the current landscape is, and now we're gonna see how we got from point A to point B.
Yeah, I thought I liked the pacing in general. Hun, your microphone is like really loud all of a sudden, like way louder than it was.
I wasn't saying anything.
No, I know. It just, like, I'm picking up a lot of my noise and the clicking noise that on the keyboards like that it wasn't picking up a minute ago. I don't know why.
That's weird. I haven't done anything.
But anyway, yeah. So I think that yeah, the only pacing issue I had was how late the reveal was. That they really did. I would have liked to get more indication that this was a problem earlier, but again, if they were planning on doing a second season, I think it made sense to do it where they did.
So for me, I didn't feel that because I had suspicions in the first episode.
Yeah, well, yeah, there was suspicions, but yeah.
But I'm like, I bet it's that person, and of course I was right, and I was just like, okay, this was definitely a red herring. The one reveal that I was actually surprised was who that guy's father was at the end, because you see that picture in the vault and you think it's him, and then you're like, oh no, it's that guy.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. So
yeah. Yeah, I liked the show. I was very disappointed they canceled it.
So Eric did suggest that we revisit this topic at some time. Yes. I think that this would be a good topic to maybe, like, if it comes up, we just bring up one show. Somebody brings up one show and we can discuss it.
Yeah. That's not bad, yeah. Alright, cool. Well, I'm pretty drained. This is... I still have very limited energy at the moment. Still kind of... I'm on day 5. I'm on considered day 5 for COVID. So I am going to wrap up there.
Sounds good.
Alright, cool. Well, thank you guys for that, and thank you everybody for joining us.
And hopefully this Thursday night we'll be able to see Skippy. Since we canceled 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
Poor guy gets a new laptop and he hasn't had a chance to show it off yet.
We have a thing on Thursday. Are you going to be home in time to play?
What thing do we have on Thursday?
The dinner with the peoples at Pastor's house.
Oh, assuming we can go.
Well, you can go.
That's true. I mean, yeah, dinner is supposed to start at like 5:30, so I should definitely be home in time to start game at 9.
Okay.
But I'm supposed to bring something for that too. I gotta make sure I have enough stuff for everything I'm supposed to be cooking this weekend.
I did buy the stuff for the lasagna.
Well, there's the lasagna. I'm supposed to be doing the meats for the breakfast on Saturday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I'm supposed to be taking, I think, potato salad to the cookout on Saturday.
Woohoo, cookout!
We have 2 cookouts scheduled for Saturday, one of which is Dave's.
Yeah.
That'll be exciting.
I will be
you'll get to go to
on Friday night. Hopefully the rest of you will be feeling okay.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's cutting it really close because Lexi's day 5 will be the day before the cookout. And, like, the CDC says we don't have to quarantine after day 5, but, like, I don't know. That feels like a concession instead of actual medical advice. So...
yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't get sick in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Because then we just definitely won't be going anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. But, yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyway, so we may or may not have couples game night, and I haven't been up to writing lately with my head, because that's a big part of the issue that I've been having is my head. And so I haven't been up to writing, so I may or may not have the writing stream this week. But we're definitely unless something takes a turn for the worse, we should have In Memoriam this Thursday. Very much looking forward to coming back to that. Because we have a thing to finish up, and then we have a one shot to do that I'm very excited about. That's going to set up for something later. So, looking forward to that. But yeah, otherwise, we will see you guys soon. Anyone have any kind of last thoughts they want to say before we sign off? No.
Nope.
All
We're
right.
pretty boring.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
All right.
Night.